everyone, this is David Stark from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today I'm joined by Peter Vack, who plays Jack in Private Chat. We're going to talk to Peter in just a second, but first let's check out the trailer, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
So how'd you start being a dom?
Yeah, when I was little, I would always choose like the weakest boy in the class, like the one that got picked on the most. And I would request play dates with him. And I would just torture him.
You use these people, or they use you. Open your mouth. Repeat after me.
You feel the burning, don't you?
What do you say?
Thank you. Behind every single interaction that you'll have, what was that? Is one, maybe two thoughts. What can I get out of this? Or what is it that you're gonna do for me?
Am I your favorite cam girl?
My God, you're my favorite girl, period.
Hey, Peter.
Hello, David.
You do not talk unless spoken to.
I will not.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're okay with that joke. I thought that could go one of two ways.
Whatever. I'll do whatever you want. So.
So awesome. So thank you so much for joining me. This is Peter Vack, who plays Jack in Private Chat. Private Chat's already out in theaters, and it's coming to digital on February 9th, 2021. So you can check it out if you're comfortable going to theaters, or you can wait a little bit and watch it in the comfort of your home. With this movie, it feels like maybe comfort of your home is the right way, just with the ambiance and the general kind of themes. But you know, it's such an interesting story, and also kind of strangely timely. Like, I can't imagine, you know, I imagine this was filmed well before quarantine, but kind of this idea of a relationship developing online and kind of some of the, you know, various personas and masks that we put on in an online world. It's very timely right now. So can you tell me a little bit about how you were drawn to this film, and, you know, kind of, you know, what was it about this film that really spoke to you?
There was no way I could have known how timely it would become. But even in 2018, when I read the script, I had been doing a lot of my own personal thinking about how likely it is that our lives will not become progressively less online, but progressively more so. And I mean, who knows, maybe in 50 years, there'll be a renaissance, or 20. And I, as an aside, sort of would be thrilled to see that. But it felt like a worthy subject for a film, in that many filmmakers and screenwriters, I think, out of some sort of fear or denial, avoid the reality that we're becoming sort of alienated from one another, or chopped up by these online platforms. So as a concept, I always was down with it. And then when I got into the specifics and read the character, it was the kind of character actors like to play. A lot of different levels, clear arc, more than meets the eye, more going on underneath the words. You know, these are all the very sort of classic markers of a good character that actors are on the hunt for when they read material. And it was all in Ben's script. So it was really my desire to do it was genuine, and it was, you know, this was not a money job. It was not something that my agents were like desperate for me to do. It was just something that felt like it would be a creative and creatively fulfilling experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the timing of this is just perfect, is the wrong word, because we're kind of in this weird situation. But I think the timing of this film coming out is very kind of appropriate, just because I know I've seen these types of films before, like an online persona type film, but I think it hits home because we've all been living that for a year plus. And so it's really, I think I see this film in a different light than any of the other kind of catfishy, Catfish is one example, but like the other kind of online persona type films. And your point about Jack's character, he has so many layers. I mean, I kind of had to follow the threads throughout, because I wasn't sure what was real and what was kind of boisterous, and then he kind of reveals that some of the stuff that he does is real, and some of it is just his online persona. So how did you kind of prepare for that? There are various facets of Jack's online life, and did you do some online gambling, or did you were there any prep sessions that you had to do to kind of get ready for this type of a role?
Yeah, I mean, much of the preparation of an actor when you're playing a role that doesn't require, say, like a different accent or like a, you know, a different gait is a little less magical than one might expect. You just sort of learn the lines, and through doing that, like the character enters you via osmosis. And then with the gambling, there was stuff for me to learn. And luckily, Ben had done a lot of gambling research before the film. So on set had a lot to teach me. And I'm not so great with numbers, and it doesn't actually come naturally to me. So a lot of what you see is movie magic. But we did have a lot of fun gambling. I was actually gambling real money sometimes in the movie Ben's Money. um, Sorry, Ben. That was a good use of, it was a good use of the budget, because truly there's, you know, one thing I did really see is that when I was gambling the fake money, it did not feel the same way. Many of the shots he uses, we were gambling real money, because you can't, which says so much about the value emotionally, spiritually. I mean, of course, we know there's hard numerical value of money, but really for the actor, you're like so interested in spiritual values. And sometimes you can concoct a spiritual value from a fake entity. Like you can look at into someone's eyes who you're not really in love with, but you can become in love with them because because that's a human face, and you can imagine being in love. But it's so funny, fake money, you cannot love the way you love real money. And I think that's almost it's sort of depressing to say that, but no, the scenes that work with the gambling, we were using real money. And yeah, so it was a lot of on-set learning, and the research was done sort of as we went, which is often how it goes for movies like this.
Well, I think especially with an indie budget, you know, given that small swings in your online winnings could have, you know, a big effect on whether or not you can eat, you know, are you gonna have hot dogs that day? You're gonna have deli sandwiches. So I think that's definitely right. Like there is something about like having some skin in the game, and you probably, you know, if you were gambling like either the movie or Ben's Money, you probably had extra skin in that game because you didn't want to disappoint you know, him as well.
And I know Ben doesn't have a lot of money.
Well, in this economy, I don't think any of us do.
I know. Yeah, totally.
And so the gambling was one part, and then the other part was kind of this cam, you know, dominatrix cam girl OnlyFans type of setup. You know, I guess was there any prep that you all did? Were there any, you know, I don't know, did you follow some cam girls just to kind of see what the environment was like?
I had known about cam girls before the film, so that wasn't hard. And it, you know, we've all looked at porn, so it's similar to that. Yeah. But the kind of camming that Ben has in his movie, I actually had never seen. The like I'd only seen a cam where you kind of just like are very detached from the camera, but the real sort of interpersonal thing, I hadn't done that, but it was kind of cool because, you know, the movie just allowed me to do that. And sometimes, you know, I'm an actor who sometimes like wants to withhold some research, because had I decided, oh, my research is going to be, I'm going to find a cam girl, and like, then I could have wasted my experience in the movie in real life. You want to sort of sometimes like be very sacred about the experience and just save it for the film. So yeah, no, it was it didn't really require much research, especially when you're on set and, you know, you're going through those motions. It's impossible not to feel as if they're real.
Yeah, and I think this situation especially was kind of, it was very interesting to watch because it was a very interactive type of cam session, right? And I think in other movies you've seen it where maybe it's more of a voyeuristic type of situation, which is you know, I don't think that would be, you know, that would have a certain appeal, but I don't think it would be as interesting as this one, where you are really kind of getting involved with Julia Fox's character. And I think that was must have been difficult to film, but it also made it something more interesting and different to watch. How did you film those? Were those, I mean, I know sometimes you're just looking through the screen, but were they filmed kind of simultaneously when you had cuts between them? Or
yes. Well, the way it went was that we were all in Ben's apartment. He dressed his bedroom to look like the room where Julia does her dom sessions, and then the rest of the apartment was made to look like Jack's apartment. So when they're on the cam, we were really just Skyping in the moment. It wasn't done in post, and that's part of why those scenes are able to work, is that we were just chatting on the computer.
I think that makes sense. It'd be weird if there were like cuts where things looked different, or maybe the timing didn't exactly work out.
Yeah. Or if we had, or so I think some people maybe assumed that we did it all in post, which would have been impossible.
Yeah. And one thing I really liked about this film also is it kind of gives you, kind of, you can peel back the curtain, right? And OnlyFans and online, relationships are kind of the new normal now, when people are trying to interact online, and OnlyFans has been around, but it seems to be kind of growing as people are trying to find ways to make money, or just, ways to express themselves. But I liked that you could kind of peel back and see your character versus your online persona, and Julia's, online character versus her background and her interests. I thought that was a, an interesting and like, as you said, timely type of film to make, given that everything is kind of moving online, and, seems like even when things open back up, I think people will be more comfortable, or maybe just kind of more used to being online. So we might just have more online interactions in general.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so what was it like working with Julia Fox? Was she, not all the scenes were her in her Dom persona, but did that character bleed through after the cut, or was she very much, was your relationship very much like on-screen characters, and then off-screen you were just, Peter and Julia?
I mean, you're always using yourself to play your roles to a certain extent. I mean, I'm not really like Jack, but some parts of me are like him, and it's same thing with Julia. I mean, no, we had a nice rapport on and off camera. Julia's really a great actor and an interesting person, and part of how she acts well is that she is able to share who she really is with the camera. The moments where she's stubbing a cigarette on my set, no, his tongue, no, we weren't doing that off camera, but we had a really nice friendship off screen. I mean, because that's part of why you do movies, is to sort of like have a nice time with the people that you make them with. And like, fortunately that happened on this. And when it doesn't happen, it's sad, because why get together to make an indie movie for no money if you're not going to have fun hanging out with the actors and the crew, and sort of, you're sharing so much of yourself on screen. It only would follow that you share yourself off screen too. And that's really the fun of it. And, I've worked with Keith Poulson before. I had known Buddy Duress, but hadn't gotten a chance to work with him. Ben, Nikki. I mean, part of doing these movies is that they are like really kind of fun social times. I mean, they're mostly work, but the socializing around the work is very fun. It's very rich, because you do all have a common goal, and not always in life do you have a common goal.
Yeah, definitely. And I bet in this one there were no awkward moments in the social life, because you'd already kind of laid out on the screen. So afterwards, you're like, we could talk about pretty much anything.
Well, that's true. When you are playing a character that does expose themselves in all ways, that is such a very good lubricant for socializing, because you're right. Like you said, you're meeting someone at a much more advanced level of intimacy, even off camera. And and I think that is why actors, I think, like acting. I'm not sure it's talked about so much, but it is, I think, something, and maybe I haven't even really put this fully together for myself until now, but you meet someone normally, and there's all of this sort of, whether it's like custom or who knows what, like barrier to intimacy. But with acting, sometimes you get on set first day, you're best friends for 20 years, or you're married, or you're lovers, or you're the dom and you're the sub and she's the dom, or whatever. A movie is always asking actors to do something that is on the extreme side of interpersonal connection. And once you've done that in the secondary reality, the acting reality, then the reality offset can start at just such a higher level of connection. It can, not always, for sure, not always, but I think when it's going well, it can, and you can make very good friends and have very sort of deep connecting outside of the work, which is also part of the work.
Yeah, definitely. So I have just a few more questions. I know we are running up against time. One thing, there is a scene in the film where you put a cigarette out on your tongue. Did you actually do that? And what did it feel like? Because that was, I was like, ah.
Well, I'll say I'm like am not such an adventurous person really in life. I don't have that sort of daredevil quality. I don't have that daredevil quality in life, but in a movie, I really feel like I do. It might be part of the bargain I've made with myself that I'm some sort of cautious in life, but almost very not cautious whenever I'm acting.
Mhm.
So it's acting is the arena where I do allow myself to do whatever I want. And doing that was fun. I think it hurt, but pain can be pleasurable, as this movie sort of illustrates. It's not something I would ever do in life. I think it hurt for a moment, but you know, you're really actors will tell you, and if they don't, they're lying. You know, when you are inhabiting a character, it gives you a lot of confidence to do things that you would never do, and it's absolutely why actors sign up to be actors. So yeah, it was fun. It hurt. It was fun, but you know, I probably wouldn't do it again, but certainly did it then, and glad I did.
Yeah, no, definitely brought you closer to the character too, right? You really kind of experienced it.
Exactly. It is sometimes feeling the actual pain of a cigarette on your tongue that brings you to the character more so than just like, I don't know, like journaling about what it might feel like, you know? Yeah.
So I'd like to move, I call it the lightning rounds. It's very short questions, kind of about the characters to see how your experience maps onto the characters on screen. You can feel free to pass, although on any of the questions, although I try to keep them very answerable. Okay. The first question is, do you play online casino games?
No.
Okay. What is the riskiest bet you've ever made? You don't have to answer that if you want to.
Riskiest bet, probably self-financing my future films.
That's risky, but it also shows a lot of heart and determination. So hats off to that.
Thanks.
Have you ever met someone that you only knew from online interactions?
In person?
Yes, in person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What is the longest you've, I guess, known them online before actually meeting them in person?
Hard to say, but probably months. Okay. Yeah.
Are you wearing any leather?
No. Wait.
Do you?
No.
Do you own any leather?
Oh yeah, I love leather jackets.
Perfect. And then so the film is out, and you're promoting the film. It's out in theaters already, and it comes to digital and on demand February 9th. Now that the film is out, what's next for you? Do you have any other projects on the horizon?
Yeah, I'm sort of going back for some reshoots on a horror movie that I shot upstate in COVID. I've managed to do a few productions in COVID. The protocol is stricter, but it gets done. It's sort of like a reverse gender Rosemary's Baby. It doesn't have a title yet, but it's going to be cool.
Cool.
And I'm working on putting together another film that I wrote. And yeah, just keeping going.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's all we really can do. That's great to hear that you've been able to work during COVID, because I know that's been just it's just hit the industry in such a strange way that, I know some people are working, some people aren't, and it's great to hear that you're able to keep going and keep kind of creating. So
thanks. Yeah, I feel lucky. Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And the movie is out already in theaters and comes out on digital on February 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
That was Peter Vack, who plays Jack in Private Chat. Private Chat is already in theaters, and it's coming to digital and on demand on February 9th, 2021. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. No, wait, after this, you better like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and make sure all my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watchapass.com for all your movie news, reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.